What is going on, guys? JD from New York here. Thank you guys for tuning back into the channel. Today what I got for you guys is an exclusive story that you're not going to hear anywhere else on YouTube.com as it concerns both Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley and why they were not brought back to the WWE for one more year like everybody had been reporting. Now, the Dudley Boys are one of those topics in the WWE for the last year, and we all look at the WWE and how they handle talent. The Dudleys are certainly up there, and all the fans around the world are asking why. Why did the WWE treat the Dudleys so poorly? Why was the booking for the Dudley Boys so terrible in the 1 year that they had returned to the WWE? Why? Everybody was under the impression that the Dudleys were going to be brought back to the WWE to be the flag bearers for the tag team division. They needed a big team. They needed a team with a huge name to pretty much make an impact in the revitalization of the tag team division. The Dudleys were that team. We expected them to run through the Usos. We expected them to have a feud with the Usos. We expected them to have a long, lengthy run as tag team champions, putting teams through table after table after table. Nothing like that ever happened. Then we came to the summer of 2016, and WWE started to give us pretty much a tease of the Dudley Boys' demise. Everybody immediately thought that, okay, WWE is not using the Dudleys to their full potential. They might be gearing this team up for a split, and we might see Bully Ray return to WWE, or some form of Bully Ray return to the WWE. But then again, where would that leave Devon? Devon would be the odd man out because they would have no role for him. Bubba Ray Dudley would find success as Bully Ray, and Devon Dudley would pretty much fade away into obscurity. That's where the storyline was going up until a few weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, where Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson pretty much decimated the Dudleys to the point where they haven't been on TV since. Now, they were both put through tables, and that was it. And everybody was asking, why the sudden retirement angle? Is this a troll? Is this for real? And then reports started to come out that the Dudleys, when they went back to gorilla position and went through the curtain, that everybody gave them a standing ovation. And this really was legitimately the end of the Dudley Boys' run in the WWE for the time being. But again, nobody understood why. We all reported that, okay, the Dudleys didn't sign a new contract. They might have interest going elsewhere because they were unhappy with how they were being treated and the creative direction that they had been given in WWE. That's what everybody was pretty much saying and reporting. But today I have exclusive information about why the Dudleys did not sign a new contract with the WWE. They verbally agreed to one, but the pen never hit the paper. Today I'm going to fill you guys in, and let's talk about that right now. The Dudleys were offered contract extensions in July of 2016 that were agreed in principle. However, the deals were never actually signed, and the extensions were later retracted. In an exclusive report, this is regarding one of the students that was trained specifically by the Dudley Boys at their wrestling academy. Now, this one student had been trained by both Bubba Ray and Devon, and he's actually been caught up in a domestic violence situation. There were allegations brought to him by a TNA female wrestler under the name of Jade. If you guys do not know who Jade is, this is some background on Jade. Her real name is Stephanie Bell. She is 27 years old. Her ring name also goes by Mia Yim. She was a part of Combat Zone Wrestling. She was part of Ring of Honor, Shimmer Women's Athletes, and Shine Wrestling. She held both the Shine Championship and the Shine Tag Team Championship with Leva Bates, a.k.a. Blue Pants, in NXT. She's also worked overseas in Japan. Right now, she is part of the Knockouts division for Impact Wrestling. That is who Jade is right now. So she spoke out about this domestic violence situation. Jade from TNA Wrestling. For those that don't know the story, at the beginning of August, Jade went public about an ex-boyfriend who is also a wrestler that used to abuse her. This story was pretty much all over the internet and was covered first by the Huffington Post. She specifically stated this: his trainer, even some of our mutual friends, thought I was exaggerating and making this up. When I filed the order of protection, his trainer tried to talk me out of it, concerning, I believe that might have been either Bubba Ray or Devon, being that he trained underneath them at the Dudley Boys Academy. He said, the trainer said, that I was hurting my ex's career because I have a bigger name. So that was pretty much that, end quote. Now, Jade actually went on to talk more in depth about this domestic violence situation and her incident with then ex-boyfriend. He put her in a headlock. This was the situation. I quote, "When he finally let me go from the headlock, my then boyfriend just left me there, and I was wondering what the hell just happened. Was he legitimately trying to hurt me? Because it was a headlock and we're both wrestlers. I didn't know at that time. I justified it as maybe it was him trying to playfully end the argument. It got more and more regular that if I said something he didn't like, he would get violent. One time I was in bed and we had a disagreement. So he left the room, but he came back in to headbutt me. Then he started to choke me. In fact, whenever he didn't like something I said, he would choke me. Soon down the line, I realized that his mindset was because I'm not hitting you, it's okay. Because I'm not leaving a mark on you, it's okay. No, it's not. It's not okay if you ever put your hands on a female." One remaining thing about the incident, she said, and I quote, "Women athletes, CEOs, those in power, we feel this pressure to be a role model to other women, to be strong, that we don't want to let them know our struggle. I didn't want to be known as a victim. I was also trying to get on TV, so if I tell my story, would this mess up my career?" On the support offered by TNA, she says, "TNA has always been supportive. My ex would work with TNA, and once they found out I had the order of protection, they wouldn't have me anywhere near him." She started a hashtag put the nail in it campaign. I started getting more and more support from people who knew what the campaign meant or asked why my nail was painted. So painting my nail because my secret way of telling the world I'm a survivor. And so the hashtag put the nail in it campaign helped me a lot. For the first time in a long time, I felt support from other people. Now I want other survivors to know I believe you. It's okay to leave. It's okay to speak out. It's okay to seek help. So that is what Jade went public with. That was via WrestleZone.com. Now, Jade, in no interview that she did, mentioned anything about who this ex-boyfriend was. She did not mention any names. But he was trained by the Dudley Boys, and that's all we know right now with the information given. WWE was worried people would connect the dots, and somehow the Dudleys would get brought into this entire thing. They were under the impression, and they were nervous, that the Dudleys were going to get dragged into a nasty domestic violence story at a time when they had just withdrew interest from signing Moose to NXT. Now you guys know Moose is on Impact Wrestling. And Moose actually had a domestic violence situation dating back to 2009. They actually demoted Jerry the King Lawler over domestic violence arrest. And also, let's not forget about Mr. Adam Rose, who was outright terminated after his domestic violence situation. Now, according to a source, WWE decided not to resign the Dudleys while the story was still making rounds. There was no heat on either one of them. Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon Dudley had no heat with WWE, and Bubba actually already been told that they may bring him back at some point. As we previously reported, okay, WWE was getting ready to push Bubba Ray Dudley as a single star, mid-card to main event level superstar, as some form of Bully Ray that we seen on Impact Wrestling, the same gimmick that he portrayed in TNA. There isn't much interest right now in Devon, and while they're going to resign, or while they were going to resign both in July, it's not a given that Devon will also get a shot down the line like Bubba Ray might get a shot down the line in WWE. Now, TNA, speaking of TNA, they are interested in both of them, but Bubba knows if he goes back to TNA, it greatly reduces the chances of a WWE mid-card run, main event run as Bully Ray. Devon isn't optimistic about a return, and sources believe that he would rather the two of them go back to Impact Wrestling. They're getting up there in age, and ever since Bubba was headlining TNA with the Bully Ray character, he's had it in his mind that he really wanted a chance to see if he could hang as a singles guy in WWE before he calls it a career once and for all. If he does end up taking the TNA offer, he may be shutting the door on ever getting that chance in the WWE. That is the entire story about why the Dudley Boys were not brought back to the company after that retirement angle on Monday Night Raw. Why Gallows and Anderson pretty much, it seemed like a passing of the torch type moment there with the Dudleys and Gallows and Anderson. That is the entire situation. Now, I understand the WWE's mindset here. You have to do what is best for the business. WWE has a variety of lawsuits stemming. The most notable one right now is the CM Punk, Chris Amon, Vince McMahon situation, in which CM Punk pretty much threw everybody in WWE and their doctors under the bus when he came out on Colt Cabana's podcast and just laid it out all on the line. This is what happened. This is why I didn't go back. This is why I walked out. I was treated unfairly. And this is all now resulting in a massive lawsuit by WWE, funded by Vince McMahon to, get his doctor the funds to sue CM Punk. So that's what's going on with that right now. There's also a variety of wrestlers out there who barely have any time in the WWE. Some notable names out there on this list. If you guys want to, look this up and hear about this, Solomonster went in depth a few podcasts ago talking about this entire lawsuit that WWE is going through with several ex-wrestlers that are claiming concussions and unsafe working environments or something along those lines. WWE does not want another PR nightmare. And especially with what happened in their company recently. Jerry the King Lawler, which immediately got thrown out because Jerry Lawler is a fucking VIP in his hometown, and that was automatically thrown out. But WWE made an example out of Jerry the King Lawler, and they took him away from the SmackDown announce team, and they put him on the pay-per-view pre-shows, and they put him on the post-shows. So he's doing a role for WWE that is actually better off for him, but in actuality, he got demoted. WWE wanted to bring in Moose to NXT. They let him go to TNA, even though there was huge interest in Moose, and they didn't sign him for a domestic violence situation dating back to 2009. If that doesn't give you the impression that WWE is fucking serious about what happens and the luggage that some of these guys have with them coming into the WWE, if you have anything, any skeletons in your closet that WWE knows of that they feel will be a problem in the future, they would not even bother with you. You know WWE is serious about this if they did not sign Moose, stemming from an incident back in 2009. TNA obviously can use all the talent that they can get. They could use all the names from the independent circuit that have some marketability to their advantage. That's why they picked up on Moose. TNA is under the radar. Nobody's really paying attention to TNA. They figured, you know what, even with all this guy's skeletons, they brought him in and they don't care. They don't care. WWE is a publicly traded company. They didn't want to bring in Moose with a domestic violence situation dating back to 2009 after what they had seen with Jerry the King Lawler. Before all that, Adam Rose was outright fucking fired from WWE because not only was he suspended for a drug policy violation, he then went on to have a domestic violence situation at home, and that pretty much was the nail in his coffin. WWE was not going to bring him back as a result of that. Adam Rose probably was better off not being in the WWE any longer. He's going to find more success in the independent circuit. So you know WWE is serious about their domestic violence situations when this year alone there was 3 incidences. Now we can add a 4th in the Dudley Boys. I understand WWE's concern over this, and I do not blame them whatsoever. As long as this story is past and this story fades away into obscurity, at that point, it's best for WWE to bring back the Dudleys if they want them to come back together, or if they just want to bring in Bubba Ray as a Bully Ray type character to put him on either Raw or SmackDown. I don't blame the WWE at all. Because what she is saying is that either Bubba Ray or Devon, I don't know which one, she did not stake the claim as to which one was talking to her. One of the trainers, we can only assume that it was either Bubba Ray or Devon, they said that they did not believe it, that she would be hurting her ex-boyfriend's career. So obviously they had a very, very, very small part in this in which they were actually on the side of the one doing the action. So WWE is absolutely not taking any chances about this, and as a publicly traded company, I do not blame them whatsoever. For us fans, yes, it sucks, because I was very, very intrigued, and I was very interested to see Bubba Ray Dudley on his own in WWE. God knows SmackDown can use another mid-level act, a mid-card act, as a heel. So Bubba Ray would have fit perfectly on SmackDown. He would have fit perfectly to the point where Bubba Ray could have had one of the best runs of his career on SmackDown. He would have been given a golden opportunity to shine as a singles guy, being that SmackDown is so light as far as roster goes. He would have stuck out like a sore thumb. So it sucks for us fans that we don't have this right now happening on SmackDown. And on the flip side of things, again, I do not blame WWE. They did the right thing here. Let this pass. Let all this bullshit pass. Let this get swept under the rug, and when the Dudley Boys are no longer associated with this story and everybody has forgotten about it, then the WWE will bring them back to the company. Now, it's going to be up to Bubba Ray and Devon if they want to go back to TNA, but going back to TNA, you know, they might very well do that. TNA is on the up and up. TNA is gaining slowly but surely, very, very slowly. They are gaining some momentum, you know. They just brought in Damian Sandow, a.k.a. Aaron Rex. They brought in Moose. They got Mike Bennett. You guys know the deal with Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, how they've pretty much resuscitated that company from the ground up. Now, reportedly, they're bringing in Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is going to be working for TNA and Ring of Honor simultaneously. Who's to say they don't go out and get Alberto Del Rio? TNA will actually be decent. TNA would actually be making the moves necessary to make them even better than they ever were. After the departures of so many top-level talents, for them to go out and get guys like that and bring them into the company, more and more people might be interested in what TNA is offering. Dudley's might actually see that and say, you know what? WWE's not going to use us, and I want to be with my brother Devon, and I want to do this together. Instead of being selfish and going out on my own, let's go back to TNA and let's be a part of this huge momentum swing on the up and up in TNA. They may very well do that. Who's saying that they won't? But if they really want notoriety and they really want to be brought back to the #1 company in professional wrestling right now, then going to TNA would pretty much squash all of that. They will never be seen in the WWE again unless they are going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's pretty much that. So it's a very, very, very sticky situation for the Dudleys. What do? Do you go to TNA? Or do you wait till this blows over and you have Bubba Ray Dudley go into the WWE on his own as Bully Ray? I don't know. But that is literally everything concerning the Dudleys and why they did not sign contracts with World Wrestling Entertainment. I personally want to thank one of my subscribers, Brett R527 on Twitter, for coming to me with all this exclusive information. Thanks a lot, brother. I greatly appreciate you and your help and getting this story to me. I wanted to get this story out to you guys almost immediately because it's something that everybody's been talking about since it happened on Monday Night Raw, and everybody's been asking, why did the Dudleys just suddenly retire out of nowhere for World Wrestling Entertainment? What do you guys think about all of this? And do you want to see the Dudleys back in World Wrestling Entertainment? Or would you rather just Bubba Ray Dudley come back to the WWE and stake claim on SmackDown as the #1 heel on the Blue brand? That's what I want to see happen. I want to see that because I was a big fan of that in TNA. I thought he was absolutely fantastic on his own, man. He's got great mic skills. He's more than efficient in the ring. For him to do that on a grander scale and be the #1 villain on SmackDown, I could certainly see Bubba Ray Dudley competing for top-tier championships as a huge villain on the Blue brand. That's what I want to see happen. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys want to see. And let me know what you think about this entire story concerning the Dudleys and why they didn't come back to the WWE. That is all I got, guys. Thank you so much for everything. I am JD. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up. And I will see you guys right back here this week for more WWE news and rumors as we head to Backlash 2016. Until then, take care. I'll talk to you guys later.